Alrighty, fanboys and fangirls, on today's episode, the Google Pixel 6 rumors have started to heat up as we get closer and closer to when the Pixel is supposed to be debuted. It looks like the Silicone chipset is even stronger now, as there has been some more evidence coming out, and I'll explain what that evidence is. Also, keeping up with the Pixel 6, it looks like Google could be finally working on ultra-wideband for the Pixel 6, and I'm going to explain to you why this is a great thing for not only Android and iPhone users, but for everyone as a whole. Also on today's episode, T-Mobile Magenta Max, the plan has been a hit with consumers, and I'm here to tell you guys, whether you like it or not, why this is a big deal and it's actually a good thing. And lastly, Apple's designed 5G modems are set to debut in the iPhones as early as 2023, according to reports. I'll explain everything and more. All that on today's episode, so stay tuned. Yo, what's happening, everybody? Michael here. Welcome back to Technoid. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're all staying safe. Anyway, guys, today's episode is going to be a rich-filled episode full of stories. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. I hope you enjoy what I have to bring to the table. So we're not going to waste any time. Let's get the mogo out. Like, comment, share, and subscribe for more. All that out of the way, let's get it going. Alrighty, story number one, the main story, the Google Pixel 6. Now, we have a couple stories for the Pixel 6, so I'm just going to put them back to back. I'm not going to separate them, just leave it as one whole. But according to a couple of reports, the Pixel 6 with the Google Silicone chipset seems to be even more likely now, as there has been more evidence coming out that there is an existence of an already in-made house CPU from Google. Now, I've already reported that Google was reportedly going to dump Qualcomm in favor of making their own in-house CPUs, and I thought that that was going to be a good thing on my end, but the rumor at the time was a little early. It started back in April, and now we're almost in the midway of May, and we didn't really hear much, but it seems that according to a couple of reporters, there have been currently reference to something called a GS101 Whitechapel, which is Google's co-development with Samsung's semiconductor business. Now, a lot of people were thinking that this is a hint at a future chipset, but after further investigation, it looks like this is already a publicly acknowledged chip existence that has already been known, and it seems that this is something that might be the foundation of what the Silicone chipsets are going to be for Google. Now, take a look further. The AOSP is the public development site where Google regulates their work and talks on the new Android updates. Technically run by Google, however, they didn't really reference a lot. It was first spotted by XDA, and then they recently came out about the Whitechapel news set, and Google employee also quoted it by saying, "You don't need code names to use binary use. This one lives fine as P21, which is likely to reference the Pixel of 2021. Now, taking all this into consideration, this is again further strengthening Google going away from Qualcomm. Now, a lot of you think that this isn't a big deal, and you know what? You're perfectly fine to think that, as Samsung continues with Qualcomm and everybody else uses Qualcomm modems, chipsets, etc. But thinking of Google, the maker of Android, and soon to be some fuchsia or something going on that they're working on outside of Android, a new software, this is the company that gives Android to these consumers and also makes the updates to support these chipsets. When they start to take a turn in their own house and focus more on that and don't really focus on Qualcomm chipsets, more and more companies are going to then switch to in-house CPUs. But I'm just speculating on that. That's not a fact. But taking a look at this current existing chipset, a lot more people are presuming what this could possibly be. Now, we don't have any specifics on what Whitechapel will work on, but it is reported that this is going to be, again, the stepping stone to what the real Silicone chipset will be. This is basically the platform, and then it will go up from there. Now, for me, I do believe that Google is going to move away from Qualcomm. Whether it happens this year or not, we remain to be seen. But one thing is for sure, the rumors are going to keep building, especially with the in-house chipsets. And the next story ties right into in-house build, because if you think that the Silicone chips aren't happening, the next story linked right to it is ultra-wideband. Now, ultra-wideband is technology found in the iPhone, and the iPhone kind of really pushed that feature, and then soon Samsung came out with their own variant, also pushing ultra-wideband, and now Google is going to jump in on the hat. Now, again, these stories do tie back, so I just wanted to kind of segue into that. But according to Android Authority, Google is reportedly working on ultra-wideband tech for what could be the Pixel 6 phones. Ultra-wideband, again, is of course in the iPhone and Galaxy devices. By Google doing this test, it seems that XDA developers have been able to find Android 12's ultra-wideband API on a device codenamed Raven. Now, nobody knows exactly what Raven is, but Rami, this man, developer, Mahas Raman, claims that Raven is one of the code names that could belong to the GS101 powered next-gen Pixels. Now, again, all speculation, we can't really proclaim if this is 100%, but based off of what the developers are saying and from their internal testings, it seems that the Pixel 6 is going to be the big flagship that everybody wants from Google by giving them an in-house CPU with high performance, but now going with ultra-wideband for more connectivity and seamless flow with their ecosystem. But it kind of further reinforces everything all together. So we can see now that the Pixel 6 is potentially going to be a next step for the Pixel lineups. And this is something that Google needs to do. Their mid-range devices, their low-end devices are perfect. There's no complaints there. But when it comes to their flagships, they have to hit it out of the park. The mid-ranges will make up a portion of sales, but you want those experiences, those beautiful, beautiful high-performance phones. But overall, I think the Pixel 6 is now starting to take its form in the rumors, so I will keep you guys up to date on the Pixel 6, and we'll hear more from what more people are claiming, and of course, I will update you guys in future episodes. Alrighty, story number 2, let's talk about T-Mobile's Magenta Max plan. Now, as you know, again, I joke and I rave about T-Mobile. I know that already. I already talked about their home internet, but we got some actually interesting statistical news to share with you guys about Magenta Max. Now, as you know, Magenta Max was launched 2 months ago, and the plan is basically a simple plan where it allows you to get the most of premium 4G LTE and 5G data. However, there is a catch that it is true unlimited. It will never throttle, it will never have any cap, it will basically just use however much you want, and it will never ever end a cycle. It will just be true unlimited. Now, the marketing campaign for the plan worked pretty well because according to T-Mo News, which of course is Ping Thong's influence, it says here that T-Mobile was able to discover that more users got to enjoy a ton more data thanks to Magenta Max. According to the reports, they were able to use 43% more music, 48% more video, and 26% more social media. The mobile hotspot data usage of Magenta Max has also gone up by 4 times its ratio. In a couple of months since Magenta Max's launch, customers have averaged a listening of 360 more songs, watching 576 more minutes, and made 1,512 more posts on social media using the Magenta Max plan. Now, of course, the article is influenced by Ping Thongs, but I have to be honest, I gotta cut the joking aside. This is some really good data, and this is something that I think cellular carriers have to take note of. Now, whether or not we agree that T-Mobile's carrier speeds and things work for a lot of people, there is no denying that this plan, Magenta Max, is working for the average consumer, the basic general consumer, because it gets them everything they want. Whether it gives face value is a debatable topic, but it comes in at a fraction of the cost of what Verizon would offer. Now, whether or not you're getting the speeds, that depends on your location, and it depends on how, congested your network is. But the one thing is for certain, when consumers are spending and upgrading their plans willing to make jump, other carriers should look at this and say, you know what, we should capitalize on this, because if we're going to charge more money for 5G plans, let's do a full unlimited. Now, of course, again, there are going to be some skeptical users, and I expect that to happen in this video, but I will not deny this is actually a very big thing, because the more users that use this data, the more people that share and actually take advantage of Magenta Max on a 5G device as well, the more I think cellular companies are going to start then setting a bar, creating tier plans, and finally embracing this. So I gotta give T-Mobile some credit here, and whether or not you guys agree with it or not, that is your own perception, and I'm not here to debate that. But one thing I don't debate is statistics and data. So I gotta admit, T-Mobile has a hit on their hands, and it actually looks pretty strong. So let's see what happens with AT&T and Verizon. And last story, the last story of the day, the Apple designed 5G modem set to debut in the iPhones as early as 2023. Now, as we know, Apple has a partnership with Qualcomm, again, further enforcing the partnership that we've already talked about, but a lot more people were saying that they are working on their own in-house CPUs. Well, it looks like that is going to be the case, because according to Ming-Chi Kuo, Apple plans on making their own 5G baseband chipsets and are expected to launch in 2023 at the earliest. According to Karl, we predict that the iPhones will adopt Apple's own designed 5G baseband chipsets in 2023. As Android sales with the higher-end 5G phone markets are sluggish, Qualcomm will be forced to compete in order to make it into the low-end market to compensate for Apple's order loss. When the supply constrict improves, MediaTek and Qualcomm will have less bargaining power over the brand, resulting in significantly higher competitive pressure in the mid to low-end market. So take that with your own thought, but here's my perception of this. Apple wants full control. It's easier, simpler to use. They have to agree to the contract that they signed with Qualcomm, which is why they're not going to breach the contract. But once their phone reaches their own 5G cellular motor, they are then going to dump Qualcomm, say, you know what, our agreement's done, we are done with it, with anything, and then we're going to see their chipset. Now, whether or not it's going to be a hit or not, that is a debate for another time, but I'm here to tell you that this is another example of Apple wanting full control of everything. And having a Qualcomm modem in their iPhones is not the way to go, but of course, you know what, at the end of the day, let's see what happens in the near future. And that's it for today's episode of Technoid. Now guys, really hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, hit the like button. If you disliked the video, hit the dislike button. That helps circulate my videos as well. As always, everyone, thank you so much for watching. I will see you all in the next episode. Have a great rest of your day, and